My name is Mel Bochner. I'm a painter. The title of this painting is The Joys of Yiddish. So the words are, I think, in this order: kibitzer, which is a wise guy; kvetcher, chronic complainer; a knucker, which is a braggart; a nudge, which is someone who's always pestering you; a nudnik, a nag; a nebish, a sad sack; a gunuff, shady character or crook; tummeler, a prankster; sitzer, a useless bystander, somebody who stands around and goes. I'm a shuganer is a crazy person. A schmoozer is a gossip. A schmo is a fall guy. A schlemiel is kind of social misfit. A schlemazel is a born loser. A schwitzer is a show-off, somebody who's always sweating. Alta kacker is a cranky old man. A pisher is someone who still pees in his pants. A plusher is a blowhard. And a plotki-macher is a troublemaker. There's a book that came out in the 50s or 60s called The Joys of Yiddish. And I had that book and, I was looking through it and these words just jumped off the page. I think of them as very funny. They have a quality that is both amusing, but also very socially critical, both of your own inner circle and of the people outside of it. I grew up in a Jewish family. They were all immigrants, so their language of preference was Yiddish. Nobody ever taught us kids Yiddish, but you picked it up. You began to understand the references. And it's very ironic because you can call people the same name and it is endearing, or you can call them the name and it's very critical. So that adds the notion of voice and inflection to all of it. This seemed an interesting way to both continue my thesaurus paintings and to bring something more humorous, perhaps, into it. But the color scheme is the color scheme that the Nazis forced the Jews to wear as armbands. And yellow on black is the most instantly readable color combination. And that's what I wanted. I wanted this to be immediately readable and not require any complex theories of interpretation. And a comma doesn't end the thought, it just means the thought continues. I wanted to use the comma to represent the fact that anti-Semitism is never ending, and we're living through the comma right now. So the commas to me are very significant. But I make the work in my studio and then I send it out into the world. And what the effect it has on people, I don't know. Although, I've come by the Jewish Museum a couple of times and there's very often a crowd of people looking at this painting, talking to each other. Like, oh, I remember your grandfather used to say, oh, that guy's a real gunuff. So it's about a kind of engagement. When you're using language in a painting, and especially in the case of my paintings from this period, and they cover the whole field, they are the painting, you can't walk by and not try to decipher it. And that's a form of engagement that is not necessarily easy to get from the public. It's much easier just to walk by, but I would like a deeper engagement. I don't see myself as assuming the role of a guardian of this language, but yes, it's endangered. When I did that big, long version of this in Germany, the classical frieze at the top of the museum that's longer than a football field. And that museum is famous because it was where Hitler did the degenerate art show. I thought, well, isn't this a kick in the pants? And there was a nice woman who followed me around for days while I was doing the installation. And then at the end, she got very close to me with her microphone and said, "Did you do this to antagonize the German people?" I say, whoa, You seem so nice. What's this about? And I thought, the worst thing you can do is deny. So I said, yes, I did, to realize what they had lost from their culture 60 years ago. That this is a hole, H-O-L-E, in the middle of their culture, which they have never gotten past. And if that would antagonize them to try to correct the situation, then my intentions are fulfilled. I have a very long history with the Jewish Museum in New York. The first job I had when I arrived in New York in '64 was a guard at the Jewish Museum. As for what it means to have this painting there, it means a lot. It's my life. It's what I do. I make paintings. And I like having them in places where they can be seen and appreciated or criticized or discussed. Or look how many years it is now you're calling me to talk about this. So it has some lasting value if it touches people you've never met. That's what you work for.